Hi there! Today I'm going to show you how to use Google Forms and Sheets to keep track of your library books that are being checked in and checked out of your classroom library. Okay, so we're going to start off in Google Drive. I'm in my Google Drive account to create my form, and I already created a form right here just to kind of show you what it'll look like at the end, so I could generate what will happen when the kids start to fill out the form. But to start a brand new form in Drive, you'll go to New, you'll click on New, and then you'll go to More, and you want to choose the purple little icon there that says Google Forms. And when I click that, I will get a form that looks like this. So the first thing I want to do is give it a title. So I'm going to title it Library Book Checkout. And make sure that you click up here too. It'll default put in for the title whatever it put right here, so you want to make sure that you name it because it's hard to find things in Drive if it says untitled. So once you've given it a name up here and you've titled it down here, you just want to think about the questions that you want to ask the kids. So if I'm thinking, okay, how is this going to work in my classroom library, and I might think, I'm going to have maybe one student, that be their job, to fill out this form when any kiddo wants to check in a book or check out a book from my classroom library. So the first thing I'm going to want is the student's first name, and it knows, it's so smart that it knows what I'm asking, so it's a short answer. I'm going to make that required. Okay, I'm going to copy this question because I also want the student's last name. Okay, by making it required, it's not going to allow them to submit the form unless this information is there. So that's helpful that I'm not going to be missing. I know I'm not going to be missing anything. I'm going to click this little plus sign here to add a question, and I also want to know the title of the book. And I'm going to keep this as simple as possible because I know that, you could do this with probably second graders could do this, maybe first graders if you had a really responsible kiddo. So I have title of book. I'm going to add another question. I want to know the date. So you can click on the question type here. You have all of these different choices. For this one, I'm going to choose date, and then that's going to allow the student to put the date in there of either the check-in or the checkout. Again, I'm going to make it required so we don't lose that information. I'll press the plus sign to add another question, and the last thing I need to know is if they are checking the book in or out. So I'll say student is, and I'm going to make this multiple choice. So all they have to do, they don't even have to type anything in. They're just going to say student is checking in book or checking out book. So all they have to do is click either here or here to say I'm checking in or out. I'll make that required as well. I am going to go up here. If you want to, you can go up here to this color palette. If you want to change the colors, you can do that. Within Google, it has a lot of options here. If you click this little photo icon, you can go, and there are lots of choices that are already there. I think for this one I chose the book one just because it goes with the library books. You can go through these. There's some really fun ones. You can also upload your own photo if you wanted to take a picture of your classroom library and then put that as the top image at the top of the form. So that's what the kids will see. I'll say select, and it should change. There it goes. So now I'm also going to go just double check my settings. So I'm going to go to this little settings cog up here, and this is really up to you depending on how you're going to use this. For this, I'm not going to collect any email addresses. Even if your students do have Google accounts, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm not going to limit them to one response because I might have the same student going in and filling this out for students. So it might be one kiddo's job to be like the library check-in, check-out person. So when a kiddo wants to check out a book or check in a book, they'll go to that kid, and then that's the only kid that'll be working with this form. I don't want the kids to be able to edit it after they submit it, and I really don't want them to see a summary chart for this. There's no reason for this that they would need to see that. Check presentation, show progress bar, that's not really necessary. I don't really need to shuffle the question order for this. I can leave show link to submit another response, and the reason I'm thinking is if maybe my librarian kiddo has a stack of books that need to be checked in, I want them to be able to just click submit another response without having to go from the beginning. I can do a confirmation. I can change the confirmation message, excuse me, if I want to. I can say thank you, happy reading, or whatever you want. You can have it say whatever you want. I'm not going to make this a quiz for sure, so I'm just going to ignore that for right now. So it looks like I'm good to go. I'm going to click save, and all of my settings are saved there. This little eyeball, I can preview what the form will look like when the kids are ready to see it. So here's what they'll see. It looks good to me. I probably misspelled something in there, but that's okay. I can go back and change it at any time. When I'm all ready to send it to the kiddos or to let the kids know, okay, this is what you need to do. When you are ready to check out a book or check in a book to our classroom or library, this is where you need to go. So I'm going to send the form, and you could do this a lot of different ways. If you are using Google Classroom, you could post the link in there in your Google Classroom so the kids have easy access to it. If you are not using Google Classroom, you could click the link button and that will generate that long link. I always like to use the shortened URL, and then you can copy and paste this however you want to do it. So you could either add this as a web clip if your students have devices. You could create a QR code with this link, so kids would use their QR code scanner to scan it and then get to that get to this form. And if you have more questions about that, you can always leave a comment and I can do another screencast on how to do that. But for this, I'm just going to click here. I'm going to go to this. So when the kids ultimately get to this URL, this is what they're going to see. So they're going to check, they'll say first name. So they'll type in their first name, last name. They'll put in the title of their book, whatever book they're checking in or out. They'll add the date. And I tried to make this as easy as possible, so there's not really a whole lot of ways that a kiddo could mess this up, hopefully. Today is July 20th, 2017, and I'm checking out the book. So all I have to do is check that. I'll click submit, and I'm done. Now I can take my book, and let me show you on the other end what it looks like. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive, and you can see I have two of these here. I created one and I populated it with information because I wanted you to see what will happen. So when that student submits that response, you can see here on my form it should say one response. So I can click here and I can see my responses. I see that Sandy, she has the Holds book on this date, and she's checking out the book. So I know that she has the book. But the magic here really happens, and the organization here really happens when you click on this little green Create Spreadsheet button. And when you do that, we're going to create a spreadsheet, and it's going to go right into my Google Drive. It's going to be my library book checkout. It's titled the same thing. It just has the word responses at the end. So when I click Create, it will create this beautiful spreadsheet for me. If I go back to my Google Drive, you can see that it's right here, and there are double because I created one right now and then I had already previously created one. So if you click now, this is one that's already populated. So this is my sheet that the kids have already started working with. They've put their names in, they've told me if they're checking in or out, they tell me the title of the book and then the date. So really great thing about sheets here, so fabulous, is that you can sort this however you want. So I see that a timestamp here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide this because I'm not really interested in that right now. I can sort this if I highlight this column, so I'm just hovering over that, and then I click on that little arrow there, I can sort the sheet from A to Z. So what that does is it shows me the kids' names side by side. So I can see here that Blake, he returned this book, The Little Engine That Could. I can see that he checked it out and then he checked it back in. So if I'm wanting to know, does Blake have any books out, I can see here, no, he's good to go. I see that Ivy here has Harry Potter out. She checked the book out on May 3rd. She still hasn't returned it, so then I can, address that if I need to. If I am looking for a specific book, so if I'm like, oh my gosh, where is that Harry Potter book? I haven't seen it in a month. I want to do it for a read aloud. You can sort this sheet from A to Z, and then I can find that book. Okay, let's find it. Here's Harry Potter that I'm looking for, and I see that Ivy has it. So I can go ask Ivy, hey, can I borrow that Harry Potter book that you checked out? I can also you can sort this however you want, whatever makes sense to you. You could sort it by date if you needed to. You could sort it by, if you sort this A to Z, I can see all of the books that have been returned, all of the books that have been checked out. This is super helpful in that you're able to kind of see whatever you need, whichever information you need to see, and whichever information is helpful to you. So hopefully this will be an easy, quick way for you to organize your classroom library and kind of get a system going. And you're documenting, the kids are documenting which books they have and if they turn them in or out. And like I said, I could kind of envision having one student maybe be in charge of this. To be the librarian, and they would be, and you could even teach a kiddo how to sort the sheet and how to work within the sheet to kind of say, okay, every Friday my librarian is going to sort the sheet, and they're just going to check in with all of the kids that have books out, make sure that everything's good to go, see if they're still reading, see if they need to return it, if they want to get another book. So definitely, like I said, we want to get books in the hands of kids, and this is one way that you can keep your classroom library organized. And like I said, if you have questions or you're not sure about something or something isn't clear, please leave a comment. I'd be happy to do another screencast to make this really clear for you so you can get the year started off right. So happy reading to you and your students.